Good morning. Had a lovely night's rest last night. I always sleep really well in the van. I've got the bedroom set up really cozy with this electric blanket, which is really soft, and then you're sitting on another kind of furry, soft white blanket. And these pillows are down, and it's just really nice, and it's quiet here. Today, we're wrapping up our stay here. I didn't really, you've been up to Morning Canyon before, and so I didn't really show you guys Morning Canyon. I may show you the river just because it's really, from the last time that we were here and we saw the river to today, with all the rain, it's really going. That river down there, it looks completely different. But it's been a nice, relaxing time up here, which is why I come up here, is to kind of recharge, be with family, quiet, relax, and good food. And I got all of that. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy. But it's time to depart. It's time to head back. But the big thing to do today is I'm trying to decide the best way for us to go back, because we are going to talk about the Rangeline today. And I wanted to take you by this one spot. We go down through some wine country and some back roads, and it's really very little traffic, but it's very, very bucolic. It's very pastoral. And I wanted to show you that. However, at the same time, I really need to dump the tanks and fill up with water, because we've got a long time without doing that, and so it's time to do it. And the place, remember that place that I went to in that, what was it, Fancy? I can't remember what episode it was. That was the private campground that had the place where I could dump and fill up. It was like $10. I want to go back there, but that's on a different route. So I'm having to think about pragmatism or beauty. Pragmatism or beauty. So I haven't decided yet. There are some pretty spots as well if I go that way home. So maybe that will do. I just want a nice spot where we can pull over, make a cup of tea, and then talk about the Airstream Rangeline. So in any case, I will let you know. Dark in here. Maybe, can you not see me? Oh, there we go. So I will put some thought into it, and then we'll just make a decision as we head out. So, okay, I'm going to get ready. I just kind of rolled out of bed. I'm going to get ready and then have a nice leisurely morning. I probably will grab some breakfast and then break my fast. And after I break my fast, then it'll be time to head out. I don't want to rush. I want to, it's 2.5 hours back, so, and we're going to have to stop and have some tea and talk. And so I want to give myself enough time that we can do all that without feeling rushed and still get in before sunset. So that's the goal today. Okay, I will see you as we're heading out. All right. Well, we have said our goodbyes, and it is time to depart from our lovely little mini respite vacation up here. It's been really lovely, I must say. I needed this. I needed just a nice, chill, relaxing few days. And so the sun has come out after all that torrential rain, remember, that we hit when we were coming here. It's beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful drive back. So let's walk around. I pretty much have done everything. So I've disconnected the power, done a walk around on the outside. We're good. And just need to close the sunroof above you and shut the fan off. And we're going to be on our way. So we're going to stop somewhere along the way, have some coffee, and we're going to talk about the Rangeline. So let's get that underway. Pull the step in. Put the shoes away. Okay, everything looks good back here. Everything looks good here. Everything closed here. Good. Let's shut the skylight above you. All right, that's good. And refrigerator is good. I'll take that off nighttime mode. Okay, let's hit the road. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna lock the pantry with the double lock because, extend the mirrors here, because we're gonna be on some curvy mountain roads. So, all right, here we go. It was smart of us to back in when we came in, because now we just have an easy way to pull out. A few little leaves here. Might have to spray a little bit more of that silicone spray on the door. It's squeaking a little bit, not much, but more than I'd like. All right, so what's on the remaining part of our, I know this has been a long journey for us this time, but we're doing a lot. So what's on the rest of our journey? Well, we're going to enjoy this nice ride till we get to our little tea time spot. Then we're going to talk about the Rangeline. And then we're going to hit the road, and I'm going to try to make it back to that private RV ground, because it's on the way back, where I can dump the tanks and fill up with water. And if I'm really filling up to it, actually give the RV, the old Panoramic, a wash down, because she's a little bit dirty, and it's going to be sunny for the next week, so I'd like to clean her up. So that's what's on the plans. All right, I will check in with you when we get to our tea time destination. All right, enjoy the ride. Little pasture of horses over there. It's a beautiful day out. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy that you're along with me and able to enjoy this with me. We'll let this truck pass, of course, because there's not really no one behind him and there's no one in front of me, so there we go. That's better. Now we're not so rushed. I don't like being rushed when we're on these beautiful back roads, you know what I mean? This road that we're on is called Mount Occam Road, and it just runs, kind of through the foothills a little bit of the Sierras, and it'll connect you up, I believe, to Highway 49 down here, and then the other way back behind us is Placerville. And so it's a really typical, beautiful California kind of backcountry road. And you'll go through beautiful kind of pastoral landscapes, vineyards, some little towns and things like that. But it's if you ever get a chance, it's a nice little drive, and it's only about, I'd say, an hour and a half outside of Sacramento, so it's not too difficult to get to. In fact, where we're going, along the direction we're going, we'll actually pass through Sacramento. So, of course, that's not all this road, but you can get to Sacramento by taking these back roads. So that's what we're going to be on today. And this is just another one of those little towns that we go through. I think this is Plymouth, I'm not sure, but this is high enough elevation that sometimes they get snow in the winter. and it's really, really pretty. Not a lot, but they get a nice, a good amount of snow here. It's just under 3,000 foot elevation, I think. And then as we pass through Plymouth here, I think this is Plymouth, forgive me if it's not, then we'll start heading into some a viticulture area. California has various parts of California are dotted with these viticulture regions, and I believe this is called El Dorado viticulture region. And so there's quite a few wineries you can stop at, and if you want to take a little break along this beautiful road, you're welcome to do that. And now you can see ahead of us there, those are the vineyards. So we're coming into the vineyards. We'll have miles and miles of vineyards here that we'll pass through. Some of them have, like this is a winery here, Soban. They'll allow you to stop in. Some of them are not, but many of them have, they're open to the public. This is one of my favorite parts of owning an RV, is just road tripping. It's just being out, exploring, getting in the RV, knowing that you're safe, you've got everything you need. You've got your bathroom and your food and your bed in the back, and it definitely encourages wanderlust. You see this sign coming up on the right, all the arrows pointing to different vineyards over there to the right. Iron Hub driven. Wineries, more wineries ahead, it says. Amador Wineries. Well, okay, there's been a slight change of plans. The navigator is having me bypass the route that I wanted to take you on, which is okay. It's having me continue on the road that we're on, which is Highway 49, which I've also taken and is also really beautiful. So I know that on Highway 49, I'm also going to have some really beautiful places to pull out for tea. So no worries, no stress. This is just part of adventuring out in your van and wanderlust. And so we're going to roll with it, and we're going to go with it, and everything's going to turn out beautifully. So let's continue on. Okay, there was a slight change of plans again. I apologize. The Highway 49 that the navigator took us down, it turned out that it wasn't what I thought, and so there was no place for me to pull off. But fear not, we are at the dump station place. I'm going to dump the tanks, and then I'm going to fill up with water, and then I'm going to wash the RV because I want to get all those things done today. But we're still going to do the Rangeline. Talk about the Rangeline, and I still need to do my tea time, so that's going to happen. Fear not, that is going to happen. But I just wanted to let you know, when we talk about the Rangeline, we're not going to be in the setting that I thought, but I'll find someplace nice. There'll be someplace nice that we'll go to. Okay, anything. Let me take care of this, and then we'll get on our way. All right. Well, we got back in late, and so I couldn't do this part of the video last night, so I waited till the next day. So we're the next day, and it's nice out, so it's a good time to do this. We are comparing right now the Airstream Rangeline with the Panoramic. So the Panoramic is the van that we're in right now, and the Rangeline is the least expensive model, and it's the only model built on the Ram ProMaster, just like the Panoramic, by Airstream. So these two coaches are very similar. They're almost identical, but they're also very different. And there's good reasons to buy one over the other. So the first thing I want to talk about right now is, why would someone be considering this particular layout? So if we look here, we're looking at the Rangeline right now, but it's actually nearly identical to the layout of the Panoramic, which is what we're in. So you see that there's a rear permanent bed right here, and then midsection there's a galley on the passenger side and a restroom on the bathroom on the driver's side, and then in the front there's a rather large lounge which can seat 4 people. The 2 cab seats can turn around, and there's a table, and there's another seating on a bench seat for 2 other people. And then in addition, back here, where the bedroom is, you can fold the bed up, as you can see in this configuration, and there's a large garage area. This is exactly the same layout as in the Panoramic. So you're the type of buyer who is considering this layout because you need to have a permanent bed in the back. That's what you want. You don't want to be making up a bed up and down all the time. So you want a permanent bed in the back, and then you want a large enough living space up front in the lounge that's not just a small living space, but enough to, actually have some people over. 4 of you can have dinner up front. You can watch TV up front, that type of thing. That's the type of person that's considering this particular layout that's on the Panoramic and the Rangeline. There are other coaches out there, of course, that have maybe in the midsection it'll have 2 single beds in the midsection, a large bathroom in the back, and then a rather smallish lounge up front. But see, that's the difference. While you do get a lounge up front on something like the Winnebago Travato KL, it's rather small. 2 people can be up there, but you can't really get 4 people up there. So buyers who want to have 2 really good living spaces in a van that's under 21 feet, you're going to be looking at this layout. And really, I mean, these are kind of the only 2 coaches as far as a quality level that are up there. The Rangeline has a 3-year warranty. The Panoramic that I'm in has a 5-year warranty. So if you're a buyer that you're willing to pay a little bit more and you want the quality and you want this layout, then these are the 2 coaches for you. All right. Having said that, now you're trying to decide, which one should I get? Should I get a Panoramic or should I get a Rangeline? And I think I can kind of boil it down for you. So there are basically 4 reasons why you would want to get the Rangeline over the Panoramic. So let's just talk about those really fast. What are those 4 reasons? And while we do that, I'm going to just kind of bring up some of the pictures and stuff like that. But the first reason being is if you want a pop top. So this is the pop top here. And if you want a pop top, then your only option is the Rangeline because the Panoramic does not offer a pop top. So if you're a buyer who has children and you need sleeping space for them, you need the pop top. 2 kids can sleep up there. Actually, probably even 2 adults could sleep up there. And then in the back, 2 adults can sleep in the back. 4 people. Or if you've got grandkids you want to take with you and you need that, then this is a $12,000 option, I believe, on the Rangeline. And that's your choice automatically. Just go with that. The second reason that you would consider a Rangeline is if you are someone who is already in an Airstream. Let's say you're in a big like a trailer, an Airstream, and you want to downsize, right? But you want to stay in the Airstream family. Well, you can certainly go into the Airstream Interstate models, which are built on the Mercedes chassis, but those are a lot more expensive than the Rangeline. So if you're trying to downsize and stay in the Airstream family, then the Rangeline, and you don't want to pay an arm and a leg, the Rangeline is the least expensive option for you to do that. I think it's around 145,000 MSRP for the van that we're looking at, okay? And just for comparison reasons, 145 is about the base as well for the Panoramic. So they're very equivalent in terms of price. But I mean, I got to say, you get a lot more with the Panoramic, and we'll talk about that a little later when we talk about the Panoramic. But if you're that buyer that you just want to stay in the Airstream family, and you want an inexpensive option according to Airstream prices, then the Rangeline is for you. So that's the second reason. The third reason why you would consider the Rangeline is because the Rangeline is offered at many dealerships. Okay, Airstream dealerships and other dealerships. And that means that you're going to be able to get the Rangeline, and probably if you wanted to get it this weekend, you could just drive it off the lot this weekend. There's lots of inventory, lots of dealers have it, and so you're not going to be waiting. If you go for a Panoramic, it's a direct, you deal directly with the manufacturer Panoramic, and they have at least a year's waiting list. So if you're the type of buyer that you look, I just want to get it today, then you're looking at the Airstream for sure. That brings me to my third point is you would be looking at the Airstream if you're concerned about maintenance and you want to be able to just take it into a dealer here that's from where you bought it, then that's the Airstream. Right now, Panoramic does not have any dealerships here in the United States. So what you have to do is if there is a problem, then you coordinate with Panoramic, and Panoramic will make an arrangement to find some RV repair shop facility that you can take your coach into, and they'll arrange all of that, and you take it in and you get it repaired. But if you're not comfortable with that, then you should go with the Rangeline, because it's going to be more of a traditional experience for you in terms of taking post-purchase, taking it in for any type of maintenance that you need to do. Right, and so the fourth reason, it's kind of a reason, kind of not a reason, but I'm going to cover it anyways. So the fourth reason why you would consider a Rangeline is because it's propaneless. Okay, it does have a generator, but it does not have propane. So all the heating and the water heater and even the generator run off of the gasoline from the chassis. So they have a line connected up to the main tank, the gasoline tank, and so they take the fuel off of that. So that means you can eliminate propane. So if that's a concern for you as a buyer, then the Rangeline is your only choice, because Panoramic does not offer that. Panoramic uses propane for the heating system, which is the Truma Combi for both the coach heating and for the water heating, and then for cooking. But there is no generator, so it just uses the alternator in the engine for a generation. But if that's something that's really important to you, and we can have a separate conversation about that and the merits of that, or the benefits and also the disadvantages of the setup that Rangeline has. But if you've made the determination and you've gone through all of that and you've said, you know what, I understand the pros and cons, I still I like the being propaneless and then pulling fuel right out of the gas tank, then your only option is the Rangeline, because that's of the two, that's the one that gives you that option. Okay, so those are the four reasons why you should consider an Airstream Rangeline. Now let's just go to Panoramic and let's talk about the Panoramic. And I'm biased because I own a Panoramic, but I'm trying to be really unbiased when I'm talking about this. The number one reason why you would want to get a Panoramic over an Airstream Rangeline is because of quality. The build quality of the Panoramic is just much higher than the Airstream. It's not to say that the Airstream's build quality is poor. It's not poor. It's a 3-year warranty, which is much better than a lot of Class B coaches on the market right now that offer you maybe a 1 or a 2-year warranty. So it's a 3-year warranty, but in comparison to the Panoramic, the build quality is just it's not as high, and I think it's noticeable when you look at not just the design of the Panoramic over the Rangeline, but you look at the selection of components and the things that you get for the price of the Panoramic. Let's just take a look a little bit. I'm going to just point some things out that I see when I'm looking at the Rangeline compared to the Panoramic. Now you may, this is all subjective, but I've looked at a lot of RVs, and I have a pretty good eye to see quality issues. But let's just go over a few things that I noticed, okay? And you can disagree with me on this stuff, that's okay. So over here you see this is the window in the lounge. And you can see these are much less expensive sliding windows and much smaller. And if you see in my rig here, look how much bigger. These are automotive windows here, much bigger, probably 50% bigger, 50% more light coming in here through these windows. And there's no sunroof here. There's a sunroof in the Panoramic. The kitchen, the galley, if we go look at the galley, whenever I see this, like down here, instead of actually putting drawers in, which are more expensive, they just do cutouts, and they look nice. They have put in nice cutouts, but it is a sign to me whenever I see that that's just a less expensive option for the manufacturer to do. And these cutouts over here, the Panoramic actually puts a full window in right here behind the sink. And instead of these cutouts being here, they actually just remove all of that there, and they give you more counter space to work with. So, you know, these are just some of the small things that I look at. Some of the lights, like there's no television in the back here. There is on the Panoramic for the same price. There's no television up front in the lounge. There is on the Panoramic for the same price. These lights here, like I have these lights here, there's no under cabinet lighting. There's no, like we have inside the Panoramic, there's no accent lighting. These are touch lights, which is just a little bit of a cheaper option. So again, it's not deal breakers, but they add up when you start to look at the choice of components and how they've decided to build stuff. You can see where they're cutting corners and where you're not getting as much van for the money as you are with the Panoramic. Things like, you know, there's smaller, lesser grade components. So for instance, on the Panoramic, you have the Truma combination coach heater and water heater. And that is one of the highest end components that you can get in Class B. And they don't use that on, I think they use Timberline, I'm not quite sure, which is good, but it's just not the same as a Truma Combi. And like the awning on it, while it is Thule on the Rangeline, it's manual and it's automatic on the Panoramic. There's a step up in the Rangeline on the sliding door to get in, but again, it's not an automatic step. It's just kind of a built-in step. That's the type of thing I look at as well. That's a cheaper option for a manufacturer to put in. It's more kind of sleek to have the automatic step like the Panoramic has to go in and out. So these are just some of the things that I look at. In addition, you get more in the Panoramic. So you have a larger refrigerator. It's much larger than the Rangeline. It's over 5 cubic feet, and I'm not quite sure what the size is of the. Let's take a look really fast. I'm just kind of giving you examples here. So there's the right there. So that's the Rangeline's refrigerator. So the refrigerator on the Panoramic goes all the way up from the same base. It goes all the way up to the top, up here, all the way up to the ceiling. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So it's almost twice the size. You have larger tanks, a significantly larger freshwater tank. It's 35 gallons on the Panoramic, and then the holding tanks, the black and the gray, are larger. They don't, like in the here in the galley, notice there is no built-in cooktop. They just give you an induction burner and a drawer. Those induction burners are great, but you can get the same for the Panoramic. They're under $100. So if you want one of those, again, they're a pretty cheap option for manufacturers to put in. And speaking of which, I haven't verified this, but a user told me that the inverter only does not power all the outlets inside of the Rangeline, and that's a problem. Of course, inside the Panoramic, every outlet, including the outdoor outlets, are all powered by the inverter. So I think you can see here that, yeah, just the build quality, just, you know, you can just look at this, you can just tell the design's better. You have just much higher end, it looks higher end on the Panoramic with these, you know, actual drawers, sliding drawers that are flush mounted, an actual built-in high-end range in the galley, television in the lounge. It's a much larger, more usable, bright galley compared to the Rangeline. The whole coach, the Panoramic, as you can see, it's interesting to me. It's so much more brighter with the accent lighting and all the windows that the Panoramic provides. It's almost the exact same layout as the Rangeline, but it feels like a different coach to me. It just feels so much more bright. Got that nice, nicely designed pantry, large window in the bathroom. I don't even think there's a window in the Rangeline's bathroom. So here you can see, I mean, we're just kind of looking, and they're not at the same angle, but you can see there is just, it's a lot more bright in the Panoramic because you can see the back windows, just a lot more windows, the skylight. We take a look at the galley here. Here you can see, again, it just looks more premium to me with the window, the design of the galley. It's larger, it's more usable. It doesn't have these cutouts and things like that. Just little stuff. This is, again, a great shot showing just the front lounges. Very similar, but again, just brighter in the Panoramic. So we're talking about quality in general. You get like more solar on the Panoramic compared to the Rangeline. And like the air conditioners upgraded on the Panoramic compared to the kind of the least expensive Coleman air conditioner that they have on the Rangeline. So if you're interested in quality, then you're going to go with Panoramic for sure. Honestly, that's the primary reason why you would go with the Panoramic, is because the quality and what the value for your dollar is much higher with the Panoramic. Now, mind you, with the Airstream, you're paying a premium for the Airstream name. So just keep that in mind. But with the Panoramic, your money's going more toward the build quality of the components, the design of the actual coach itself. And so you just have to decide which one's more important for you. I think they're both excellent coaches. I wish that other manufacturers, I know that Thor makes the Tolero, which I believe is a Tolero, which is very similar, and it's a lower price. You can get it for closer into low 100,000s, but the build quality is much lower on that. But it's a very similar layout to what we just saw here. So I would say, if you like this layout and if it works for you, and if price is your primary concern, then you should go like with something, look at the Tolero. If you're willing to step up about $20,000, $30,000, then you come into the range of the Panoramic and the Rangeline, and then we just went through the reasons why you should choose one over the other there. So that's my thinking between these two coaches. Both great coaches. I'm really happy to see U.S. manufacturers starting to build on the ProMaster using this particular layout, because I just think it's very functional for many people. So I noticed that my hair was a little mussed up. Sorry about that previously. So I went into the bathroom and I tried to straighten it out a bit. I hope that you found our little discussion about the Rangeline and the Panoramic useful. It's always fun when I do the little comparisons. I like this format. I think a lot about RVs, and so I like being able to distill it down into just the one or two points that really make the decision a little bit more clear. And so for me, that's my opinion about it, but I'd be curious to hear if you share the same opinion or not. Let me know. In any case, it has been a really enjoyable time having you with me, and I always enjoy when we're together, and I always enjoy when we can share and talk about RVs, because that's a passion of mine. So I'm afraid we have to say goodbye this time, but I will see you in the next video, which is just right around the corner. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.